Are we live? I think we are live. So, welcome everyone to my live trailer reaction breakdown of the new Superman teaser trailer because I won't lie, right? I was not expecting a Superman trailer to come out, even though tickets were coming out on sale, but I wasn't anticipating a Superman trailer to be coming out. And it came out, I watched it, and I was like, oh, this is unlike any of the other trailers we've gotten. But also, too, it's the trailer that made me go, oh, oh, what is going on here? Like, what? Because I think tonally it's all over the place. I think the visual effects range from decent to kind of just like, what am I looking at? Like, this is a however $100 million budget movie. I swear this is like reported to be like one of the most expensive movies ever made, but I mean, just going off this trailer, it doesn't look like it at all. Um, and honestly, Superman, it just looks a bit, I don't know. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the sense of like, I'll go over my general thoughts on the trailer right now, which is that I think tonally it's all over the place because it wants to be campy, or at least it's coming across as campy, but then also too at the same time it wants to be realistic or like make you believe the effects are real, but it doesn't seem to be doing that for me. Like, I think it's a bit of a mess from like a visual standpoint, and I think tonally is kind of in conflict with itself. Like, I always find that like as an audience member, as a filmmaker myself, when you're watching something, like a hallmark of a good like film is that or at least the director of the film knows what it wants to be. They know what the film wants to be. And going off this trailer, this could be the case because Deadpool and Wolverine for me had a similar thing to where like the final trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine I thought was just kind of all over the place and wasn't a great trailer. But the thing that I'm having with this trailer is that tonally, at least the way the trailer's edited, to me it feels like the trailer doesn't know what it wants to be, because half the time it's this big campy big monologue with Lex Luthor just like, Superman, I'm gonna kill you and everyone you love. Like, they're really playing up like the cheese and camp of Lex Luthor, which is weird because they haven't really done that in any of the previous trailers, but here they were really like playing up of just like, gee willikers, Superman, I'm gonna get you and I'm gonna kill everyone you love. And it's just like, okay, we haven't seen that before in the marketing. And also too, if that is the tone of the film, if this is meant to be campy, I'm not against the film being campy, because, you know, camp can be done well, just so long as, again, the filmmaker knows what they're doing. But you look at this trailer, because it's kind of trying to be like comic booky, real worldy at the same time, the camp and the cheese doesn't correlate. It's kind of just like, we have this big, bombastic, evil monologue from Lex Luthor, but then, like, it's still trying to look somewhat realistic and tangible, and I'm like, what are we doing here, James Gunn? This is tonally conflicting, and it's not really like any of the previous trailers, because the previous trailers, they were all just like, oh, big, epic, bombastic Superman is coming back to the big screen. Look at how great this is. And then this trailer is just like, here's this like crazy campy action. We're gonna like amplify everything. We're gonna really showcase like the wide angles and like our big CGI spectacle shots. But they don't look good. That's something that I have with this cinematographer. I think it's Henry Brahms. He shot The Suicide Squad. He shot Guardians 3. He also shot what I think is probably one of the worst looking movies ever, and that is The Flash. And this trailer gave me a lot of The Flash vibes. Like, there are so many shots in this where I'm just like, ugh. Like, this is so, like, rubbery and CGI. Not to mention, too, I don't know why James Gunn is so obsessed with, like, wide-angle lenses. Like, he really just loves the idea of a wide-angle lens. And I really don't get it. It's kind of just like, James, what are you doing, man? This doesn't look good. Like, do you remember at least I did, like, as a kid growing up in like the early 2000s and stuff. Whenever you would like hear about movie stars and like film and all that kind of stuff, everyone, used to talk about like the glitz and the glamour of Hollywood, and like they always tried to make you look your best. If I'm David Cornswear, I'm like walking out of my trailer going, "Yo, James, why are you making me look bad? Like, why are you shooting me on this really like bad fisheye lens, making my eyes look super far apart? I'm supposed to be Superman. Like, I'm supposed to have these really cool looking epic hero shots, and you're making me look goofy." Like, I just have that a lot with this trailer too. Like, the way James Gunn is portraying Superman, like, I feel like the story itself is going to be fine. It may not be the best thing ever, it may be generic, it may also be incredible, but the trailer itself isn't highlighting that, because, like, there are so many moments in this trailer where I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, why have we characterized Superman like Star-Lord? Or like Mr. Terrific is yelling at him and he's just like, "I'm doing important stuff." And it's like, that's not Superman. Like, what are you doing? Like, I would get it if this was Superboy. Like, if this was like a teenage Superman. But he's not. The way James Gunn said it is that he's a Superman in like his third year of being Superman. He's like a 30-year-old man. So why are we characterizing him like he's Star-Lord or like he's like a stunted teenager? That's not who Superman is. Like, if we're going off like Richard Donner logic, he's like been in the Fortress of Solitude for like 2 years, learning everything from his father, learning about the universe and the cosmos and all that kind of stuff, becoming Superman. And yet we're characterizing him like a teenage boy, just being like, "I'm doing important stuff, stop yelling at me." It's like, what are we doing here? That's not Superman. And yeah, I feel like I'll do like a little trailer breakdown. Sorry about all the technical shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. Like, I tried like setting this up on my computer, but like YouTube was being like, "Nope." Streamlabs was being like, "Nope." So future live streams will be on the phone for now. Again, this is just like a way for me to just like do a quick. I say quick. This is more kind of like a live recording session. Oh, Martin Palmer's Superman of Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four. Like, my only like concern with Fantastic Four right now is I don't love the way they've characterized Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, because to me he's not giving off Johnny Storm energy. He's just giving off like some like younger sibling, but not Johnny Storm, because Johnny Storm is cool. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he can be friends with Peter Parker and all that kind of stuff, but like Johnny Storm is like the cool jock type of character. Like, then again too, I'm not like super like versed in like comic FF. It's like I like watched some of the Spider-Man cartoons. Johnny Storm isn't one of them, right? Or am I just making that up? But like, I've read like the early '60s comics with like Spider-Man and stuff, Spider-Man and the FF, and like Spider-Man and Johnny Storm have like a really cool like best friend dynamic. And like at the same time too, like Johnny Storm, like his coolness evolves throughout the years and such. But like, there's something about Joseph Quinn. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Joseph Quinn. I think Joseph Quinn is a strong actor. But like, the way they've characterized this Johnny Storm, I think even too they said in interviews, he's not like the cool womanizer, all that kind of stuff. He's just like some dude, and I'm like, then that's not Johnny Storm. Like, Johnny Storm is supposed to be cool, and Joseph Quinn's Johnny Storm is not giving off cool energy. He's just giving off like uncle energy. I hate the visual style and color grade. Chigbo Donald. I hate the visual style and color grade. The first movie has. Chigbo, we're talking about Fantastic Four. We're talking about Superman. Because yes, you're right. I should jump back into Superman. I will do. I'll do a little breakdown now. No technical shenanigans stuff. It'd be cool if like YouTube was able to just like add like layers and stuff into the live streams. But again, I'm literally just streaming this off my phone. But yeah, so we'll do a quick like breakdown, and to avoid copyright and all that stuff, I'll just like pause the trailer. Can I get copyright for just the audio? Yeah, no, Chigba, I agree with you. Superman visually looks ugly. Like, I'm a filmmaker, right? My cameras are behind me, and obviously I don't shoot on a cinema camera. I shoot on a Sony A7 III. I want to get the FX3, but even still, it's like pick up a camera, right? Point it at anything, and you will see just how un-cinematic Superman looks. Like, you put on like a generic 50mm lens, you point your DSLR camera or your mirrorless camera at anything, and then you look at Superman and you go, what is this movie supposed to be? Like, visually, what is this? And again, too, I really don't get James Gunn's fascination with, like, wide-angle lenses. I mentioned this earlier, but, like, if I'm David Corenswet, I'd be like, James, you're making me look ugly. David Corenswet is a handsome man, and at the same time, too, he's kind of, like, the, like, perfect embodiment of Superman aside from Henry Cavill. Like, you see David Corenswet in, like, interviews. I saw him, like, do, like, a TikTok arm wrestling competition the other day. He seems like such a nice guy. He literally, like, went up to the dude and was just like, do you want me to let you win? That is so Superman. That is so perfect. Anyways, I digress. Let's jump into the trailer and we'll talk a little bit more about this kind of, like, stuff surrounding Superman after the trailer. Obviously, I'll pause throughout it. But yeah. Let's go. So, buildings falling, people are running around. That stuff all looks fine. Like, again, I don't love the color grading for, like, the daylight stuff. It's a bit weird. It doesn't look super naturalistic, and again, it just kind of does, like, beg the question of, like, this is a multi-$100 million movie, and they can't afford diffusion, or, like, they're doing a weird stylistic thing that just doesn't make any sense, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, no. So, Superman has... Okay, no, Superman has caught the building. Again, I don't love the collar on the suit. Like, the new 52 collar, I think it's just bizarre because the overall suit design is meant to be... It's meant to harken back to, like, classic comic Superman. And for the most part, in, like, long shots of Superman, you see him in the full costume and stuff, and he's wearing, like, the bright blue. And it looks very akin to, like, the art style of Superman for All Seasons or Superman Birthright. But then he's got, like, the new 52 collar and these, like, really, like, weird lines. Especially in close-ups, and, like, the really, like, padded suit. And I'm like, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look nice. Like, from afar, the suit looks really nice. But up close, I don't like it. And again, too, I don't know why he's got the new 52 collar. I feel like it just, like, detracts from the overall silhouette of Superman. Especially because we've gone back to the trunks. It's like, why are we giving him a new 52 inspired suit if he's wearing trunks? Like, huh? That doesn't make any sense.
Being on planet Earth.
So now we get introduced to Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. And I won't lie, this performance can either be very great, and this is all kind of depending on the film. This performance is either really great or really just out of place, because he's kind of really, like, camping it all up. Like, I am Lex Luthor, the greatest criminal mind of our time. Like, he's really, like, playing that angle of Lex Luthor. But again, too, is this movie meant to be, like, campy cheese? Like, are we going super stylistic? And are we going and, like, harkening back to, like, 1950s, 1930s-esque sort of, you know, mannerisms and that kind of stuff? But if that's the case, why are we shooting it like this weird, bizarre, modern-looking film that's super, like, digital? Because if you think about it too, right, and I'll use Fantastic Four as an example. You look at the trailers for Fantastic Four, and they look really good. Especially, too, when they do, like, the 60s era-looking stuff, that feels period appropriate. Like, even Pedro Pascal is adopting a little bit more of a 1960s twang, and he's like, dinner's at 7 and we love having dinner. That felt right. And then, like, when they go and shoot the anamorphic stuff, it still feels like it's the same type of film, but it doesn't stick out. This, because this movie looks super digital, and then also too, we have a very campy performance from Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, it's a bit tonally all over the place, and I'm like, what are we doing here? This is... Huh?
Now, as planned.
And so Lex Luthor is breaking into the Fortress of Solitude and killing all the robots and stuff.
I'll destroy you. And of course,
And some of the dialogue showcased in this trailer just feels a bit corny. Just like, I'm gonna destroy you, Superman. And it's like, wow. Great writing, James Gunn. This is... I know it's a superhero thing and it's a comic book thing, but like, you're really making this like campy.
Porter, you always do interviews with. Who raised you as a child? I'll kill them too.
And again, too, it's like he's monologuing. It seems like this is like him monologuing at Superman. And this is a point I'll kind of like raise a bit later on in the trailer, but like, I have no idea what the story is for this movie. Which, like, is a good and a bad thing, because, like, obviously I want to walk in, like, not knowing everything, but at the same time, too, from, like, the way the trailer is constructed, I don't really know what this movie is about, especially if you, like, piece together all the trailers. You're kind of just like, wait. What actually is the story for this film? Because from this trailer specifically, I can't tell, like, anything. Chigbo, Lex feels like the High Evolutionary Guardians 3. The thing is with the Evolutionary in Guardians 3 was that, like, he was campy and a bit over the top, but I don't think he was, like, bad. I think he fit the tone of that film. Lex in this movie, again, it's like, I don't really... Like, from this trailer, I can't tell what the tone of this film is supposed to be. Which is weird, though, and speaking about Nicholas Holt's Lex, is that I think visually he's pretty spot on to, like, certain drawings. Specifically, like, the most, like, famous-looking one. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, if you literally just type in Lex Luthor, there's, like, that shot, there's that drawing of him, and Nicholas Holt pretty much just looks perfect to that drawing. So... Okay, even this shot with, like, Superman being, like, lifted up by the robots looks really CGI. And especially the suit. Like, I feel like they might be doing the thing they did with the Flash suit, where, like, they're cleaning up that suit in post, which... It's a good thing and a bad thing, but also, too, I do miss the days where, like, superhero costumes looked good, like, on camera. Like, you didn't have to, like, fix it in post. You just had costume designers make an incredible costume and then have the actors wear it, and it looked great on set, like, all the time. Like, one of the biggest pet peeves I have with the Tom Holland Spider-Man films is that his Spider-Man costume, for the most part, looks pretty great on set. But then they just cover that thing in CGI, and it looks terrible in the movies. Oh, I didn't mention this in, like, my Superman video about, like, Superman... the 5-minute preview thing, but like when Superman gets hit by like the ray of sun and stuff, and he's like screaming, people are like, they've made this Superman so weak and stuff. No, I mean, the robot said he's got like broken limbs and stuff, so like him being healed by the sun, like, of course, like his bones would be like shifting back into place, so of course he would be like in pain. I don't have an issue with that. I just have an issue with like Crypto hitting him and he's like, Crypto, stop! Like, again, too, I said this earlier, but like, this is Superman, not Superboy or Super Teen. He's a man in his 30s, and he's been Superman for 3 years. Like, don't treat him like he's, like, Deadpool or Star-Lord or anything.
No matter what you do to me, Luthor, your plans won't work.
So that shot of Superman flying, again, wide-angle lens, very CGI heavy. It doesn't look impressive. I look at that and I go, where did the money go? But not only that, too, I kind of just go, great, the Superman game, that cutscene. Again, too, it looks like an outdated video game. Like, I'm playing this, the RoboCop, like, shooter, right? And, Chickboy, Superman is meant to be manly and somebody to look up to, not like... Yeah, I even said that to someone, too, in, like, one of the comment sections, where, like, Superman is the ideal. Like, yes, he is a man, yes, he is relatable, and that's what makes us, the like, audience, relate to Superman. But at the same time, too, he's not human. He looks like human, and he's grown up as human, and he has human mannerisms and characteristics. But he's not a human being. He is the ideal. He is what we aspire to be. Every iteration of Superman so far has been like, yeah, he's great. Like, obviously, Man of Steel, they, like, quote a Superman comic where it's like, you will, like, be the symbol of hope. You'll give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They'll race behind you, they'll stumble, they'll fall. All that kind of stuff. But at the same time, too, yes, Superman is a dude. The movie Love, I think the film lacks the mystical. Yeah, I completely agree. I felt like I've missed a couple of comments, but yeah, no, I agree. This movie, at least in the first two trailers, it was trying to feel epic, but it didn't really succeed. This trailer just kind of goes like balls to the walls camp, and it's lost its like groundedness. Like, I don't need like my comic book films to be like uber realistic. Like I'm not asking for The Dark Knight again. What I'm asking for is like a good balance of being comic booky, but like me still believing the situation. You know, like you can still be fantastical, but also to be like realistic. Like, don't make me like suspend my disbelief, because I'll talk about it too as we like finish up the trailer and we get to more of like the CGI action. Oh, this CGI action just looks super rough. But yes, sorry, I was trying to raise a point. The bit where Superman's flying and he's just like, your plans won't work, Luthor.
No matter what you do to me, Luther, your plans won't work.
Yeah, your plans won't. The way he delivers that line is so camp and corny. Like, and again, too, like, if this movie was like a full-on stylistic Superman period piece, you know, that harkens back to the campier tone of the 1930s, the golden age of superheroes, I wouldn't mind those like this line delivery, but like because this trailer is so counterintuitive to all the other marketing, because all the other marketing is just like, you know, oh, Superman's coming back, the Superman that you want, the big hopeful like the big hopeful bombastic hero is back, and we're gonna like use the John Williams theme, but it doesn't fit with this trailer because this trailer is really campy, and I'm like, is this movie written like this? But then at the same time, this movie just like it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't have an identity, it seems like.
Wrap it up.
Good luck with that.
Okay, now we get to the infamous shot in the trailer that has like blown up all over Twitter with Grace Randolph and beyond the trailer, and that is Superman and Krypto like double teaming this guy, and Superman punches out this guy's teeth. Because this has caused like a bit of controversy online. And on the one hand, I actually kind of agree with Grace in the sense of like, you don't have Superman like knock out a guy's teeth. Like Superman, like he pulls back his punches. Like he's not gonna like brutalize. He's not Batman. He's not gonna brutalize a guy and break his teeth. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is Superman we're talking about. Like, the most hopeful, optimistic, idealistic hero who believes in the good of everyone. But at the same time, too, it's like, he will, like, beat up villains. But at the same time, too, I don't think this guy is a metahuman. Because, like, yeah, obviously, like, in the comics, when Superman fights, like, Darkseid or Doomsday stuff, he's, like, not pulling back. He's, like, fully going for it. But this guy, I have no idea who this guy is right now. That he like knocks his teeth out of, but like he just seems like a dude, and it's like, why is Superman like breaking a guy's set of teeth? Like, that's not very heroic. But then like, I do get it, like it is like a cool-ish looking shot, I guess. But then like, cool shots and cool ideas don't like make no, it does. What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? It's a thing to where it's just like. It's what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? It's like, I don't know. It doesn't feel very Superman-y, but at the same time too, I don't think it's like super harmful. But like people compare this to like the next snap in Man of Steel, and it's like, no, like that's a different thing. The next snap in Man of Steel, I will defend because like there was no way for him to like take out Zod without killing him. No way to access the Phantom Zone. Zod was on a rampage. He was gonna kill people. He was gonna mercilessly kill people. So Superman did like the only thing he could do. That's different to Superman just like, you know, flying around with his little dog and then punches the guy's teeth out. Thoughts on Man of Steel. I've talked about Man of Steel a couple of times on my channel. You can find videos of it on the channel, but I really like Man of Steel. I like love Man of Steel. I think it's really good. It has issues. In those videos I point them out, like the color grading for Man of Steel is a bit much. Like, it's a nice looking film, but at the same time too, I want Superman's suit to be blue on screen, not like navy or black. yeah, I have like other like the Jonathan Kent thing where he's just like, what did you expect me to do? Let them die? And Jonathan Kent's like, maybe. The way that scene is directed is a bit weird. Like I would have like had Jonathan Kent be a bit more realistic in terms of just being like, no, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on, guys. I will jump onto your. I will look at the comments coming past. I'm just gonna finish off the trailer. So yeah, Superman punches the guy's teeth out. Cool shot that everyone's losing their mind over, but at the same time too, I do get where like beyond the trailers coming from, where Grace was just like, that's not something Superman would do. I do agree with her on that. Yeah, we're playing the thing. Okay, here's something, right? What is the plot for this movie? I think I raised this point up, but like, what is the actual plot for this movie? I'm not asking them to give me like every plot detail, but what is the story for this film? Like, what is this movie about? Like, even this bit here, Superman's like talking to Guy Gardner, and he's just like, come on, what are you gonna do, Big Blue? And it's like, what is the story of this movie? Also, too, again, it's so campy with the writing and that specific moment, but at the same time, too, it's like, how does this fit? I don't know. And then we have like Lois writing Mr. Terrific ship, and it's kind of like, this just feels like we're doing like generic superhero stuff of like, oh, we need the human characters to do something in the final act, so they're gonna get involved and like fly around in ships and stuff. But what? Why? I mean, I'm guessing Lois can fly the ship because Mr. Terrific made it, and Mr. Terrific is super smart, and probably made like a like dummy safety switch for the ship or something, so like anyone can fly it. But like, the way that moment plays in the trailer, and again too, need to see the film because for all we know it works perfectly fine in the film. Why is Lois flying the ship? Why do we have to give Lois something like super crazy to do?
They chose him. Let them die.
Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
I'm doing important stuff. Yeah, that moment here, like, that's not Superman. That is Superboy. That is Star-Lord. That feels like a Deadpool line. That feels like a Spider-Man line. That doesn't feel like Superman. Superman wouldn't, like, do that. Like, Superman is like a normal dude. He has a sense of humor. There's no denying that. Oh, I'm doing important stuff. Leave me alone, Mom. Like, that's not Superman. Like, Superman, sure, he'll crack a smile, he'll say something wise or something, but he won't be like, I'm doing important stuff, leave me alone. Star-Lord, sad Reaper TJ, feels like Star-Lord in a Superman suit. I agree. Specifically, like, when they give him moments like that, this doesn't feel like Superman, this feels like Star-Lord. Even the, like, top half of the Superman costume has, like, the fit of the Star-Lord jacket from Guardians 3, and it's just like, that doesn't feel like Superman. Oh yeah, and then we get to the big shot in the trailer that like everyone was like losing their minds over, which was like the heat vision spinny shot. Doesn't look good. Like, that looks like a cinematic from Injustice 2, and Injustice 2 is like an old video game now. Like, I've like what, 2012, 2013, 2014? Or maybe it's a bit later than that, but still, it's an old game now. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this doesn't look good. Like, this movie is visually ugly. This reminds me a lot of like the Flash movie. It's so bad, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like, seriously, like, I am normally like, as like a young creative myself, as like a filmmaker, I very much am for the idea of concept over execution, right? But bear in mind too, whenever I make a film, I make it on a micro budget. Like, my upcoming fantasy short film, The Singer's Tale, I made for like 300 quid, right? So I don't have sympathy when I see big budget Hollywood studios that spend hundreds of millions on their budgets, and you give me something like this that looks like it belongs in a video game. Like, demand more from your entertainment, guys. Like, I've seen so many like trailer reactions and trailer breakdowns where like they love this shot and they're like, oh my god, Superman shot these people with a circle with his heat vision is so cool. No, it looks bad. Like, it genuinely doesn't look good. Again, the concept is cool. Yeah, Superman did something cool with his heat vision, sure. But it doesn't look good. You look at Batman versus Superman, which is reportedly, like, not as expensive as this Superman film is. And the bit where Superman and Doomsday are, like, blasting each other with the heat vision looks incredible. That looks like the gods are fighting. That looks like an incredible moment. It's visually stunning. And then you just compare it to this Superman shot where, like, it's super messy. You have, like, red flares across the screen and just CGI drones, like, flying by. It doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. And then a DC Studios Superman logo. Okay, here we get to, like, the bits where it's, like, see it in IMAX and we get the really bad... Oh my god, that wide-angle lens looks terrible. Again, I'm gonna say this for the third time now, but, like, if I'm David Corenswet, I would be marching up to James Gunn and I would be like, dude, you made me look ugly. What are you doing? Like, I know I got paid for this, and I know you're the director, but you're making me look ugly. Like, I feel bad for David Corenswet, because I actually think he's gonna be an amazing Superman, minus some of James Gunn's direction, because again, I mentioned this in my, like, previous Superman video where I'm just like, they've made Clark Kent a bit of, like, a soft boy, which isn't comic accurate to Superman. Like, there's a difference between Superman being a kind, gentle soul and him being, like, a soft boy. Like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, come on. Oh, yeah. That's not Clark Kent. Like, yeah. That's my thoughts on the trailer so far. The new one that everyone's losing their mind over, I don't care for it. I don't think it's super good. Let me go and see what you guys are doing in the comments. Right. Let's scroll up. I've obviously addressed some of it as we go down. SSRR, I love a hollow romance, a great short. That being said, Superman looks more energetic, dynamic, and creative than most comic book movies in recent years. Yes, I do agree in the sense of it feels distinct, which I will give it praise for, but I just think a lot of the distinct choices James Gunn has given to this movie aren't, like, beneficial for the overall, like, visual look of the movie. I think the movie looks pretty ugly. Like, there's a difference between doing something to be different and then doing it... What am I trying to say? Like, there's a difference between being quote-unquote unique for the sake of being unique, or quote-unquote artsy, to, like, break the norm of the status quo. But, like, what am I trying to say? It's like there's a standard way, not like a standard way, but, like, you know, most people when they shoot a film, they shoot it to be aesthetic, and I feel like James Gunn is, like, doing all these choices, like the wide angle lenses, like the weird color grading, the weird CGI and all that kind of stuff. He's doing it to be distinct and unique and to give DC on film a different flavor, but at the same time too, they're hindering the overall, like, quality of the film and the film's look. Like, again, poor David Corenswet. These, like, wide angle flying shots are not doing him justice. They're making him look bad. Superman, yeah, we talked about this. Chickbo. And the movie lover. The music does do a lot of the heavy lifting in these trailers. They're very, like, big, bombastic. Oh, hey, look, we got the John Williams theme. We're doing that. And again, too, I've mentioned this, like, in previous videos, but I don't mind that they're using the John Williams theme for this, because there's a difference between them using the John Williams theme in this film in comparison to, like, Henry Cavill's later appearances in the DCEU, because I hated that in the DCEU. It was like Henry Cavill would show up and they just start playing the John Williams theme, and it's like, he has a theme. Why are we forcing nostalgia bait on Henry Cavill when his Superman has a theme? It's the Man of Steel theme composed by Hans Zimmer, which is incredible in its own right. Why do we keep forcing the John Williams theme onto Henry Cavill? But because this is a new rendition of Superman, and we're, like, bringing back the classic John Williams theme, I don't mind it because yeah, it works for the film because like the Superman theme is the Superman theme. Hold on, Ethan. Ethan, I will come back to your comment in a second because I like some of Zack Snyder stuff, but I'm not a Snyder bro. I promise you that. Music does most hated lifted Nicholas Hoult. See, the thing with Nicholas Hoult and his performance, and I do feel like I need to see this in motion, is that like he doesn't feel like he's acting. I feel like he's being told to play a version of the character that might not tonally fit the film. Because he seems to be doing a very campy, comic booky Golden Age Lex Luthor. But then does that fit the tone of the film? Like, again, too, I don't know if James Gunn, like, tonally knows the identity of his film. Or if he does, the trailer doesn't know the identity of this film. Chick Boy, the only good shot is when he looks up and says, "Good luck with that." I do like that shot. Though I do think some fans on Twitter are taking that shot a bit too far. Because, like, they're all like, oh, his eyes are burnt, and they form this kind of, like, domino mask, similar to, like, Robert Pattinson's, black eye makeup in the Batman. And, like, there are a lot of people online that really want this to be connected to Robert Pattinson's Batman. And apparently, like... sorry, I just keep seeing the comments there. And Chith, I will get to your comment. I'm not saying he's meant to be a serious guy. Just, I'll come back to that. But no, yeah, there are people online that are just like, oh my god, there's like a great parallel between Superman and sorry, there's a great parallel between Superman. Oh, sorry, camera's just falling down. There's a great parallel between this Superman and Robert Pattinson's Batman. They fit so well, and I'm like, they kind of don't, though. Like, this movie looks and feels super digital and super CGI and is, like, super, like, brightly lit. Where Robert Pattinson's Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, is very, like, dark, very gritty, very, like, realistic. It's trying to, like, emulate a lot of, like, noirish vibes. These don't fit. Like, tonally, this doesn't fit. Like, I don't want Robert Pattinson to be David Corenswet's Batman. It doesn't fit. And that's kind of playing feels like two different worlds. But that's the thing, though. How am I supposed to believe that these two, like, characters can coexist? Like, because they're just visually, like, crazily distinct. Like, there's a difference between something being, like, believable in the same world, but also being, like, a bit different in the same world. Like reality, for example. Like, there's a difference between, like, kids' entertainment and, like, a serious film, but, like, there's a way to blend everything together to make it fit, and I just feel like Corenswet and Pattinson, whilst they do look good together, I just don't feel like... I just don't feel like visually Corenswet, and at least James Gunn's vision for his DC, fits with it. I feel like I didn't finish. Did I finish my point about the Robert Pattinson Batman thing? I think I did. What should also Flicker's finger would have been. Yeah, something like that, Chick. But I do agree. Like, instead of knocking out the guy's teeth, or even just a sock in the face, just a full-on like punch, or like a punch and a like flick away or something. Like, knocking out the teeth is a bit far. Learn English with JD. Indian, I'm not Indian. I'm a quarter Pakistani, half Algerian, and quarter Guyanese. SSR, I think I mentioned Man of Steel. I think I've talked about Man of Steel before. But again, too, I've like covered Man of Steel in like several videos on my channel. I really like Man of Steel. But just because I really like Man of Steel, it does not make me a Snyder bro. Because if you've watched a couple of, like, reviews on my channel, specifically of, like, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon and stuff, my respect for Zack Snyder is actually, like, diminished as a filmmaker. I don't think he's, like, a super strong filmmaker anymore. Like, I really like the Snyder Cut, but I think the Snyder Cut is way too long. And Rebel Moon, both of them, they're terrible. This movie seems like it's trying to be mixed Superman 1978 in energy, Man of Steel in action, with a Guardians of the Galaxy humor, which is... I agree, Sad Reaper TJ, I do agree. It feels all over the place and it feels like a mess. And this trailer didn't do a good job of balancing the tone of this film. Yep, again, I've pointed out the bad CGI. Just, again, it looks like Injustice 2 level graphics. And it's like, that's not what hundreds of millions of dollars should buy you in the visual effects world. James is not known for his cinematic shots, but damn, I thought he'd at least step it up with Superman. Yeah, like, James Gunn, for me, is known better as a storyteller. And everyone always points to Guardians of the Galaxy. But as we know, with the, like, Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff, a lot of that stuff is like done in previs, and a lot of the quote-unquote like unique stuff, I don't know if we can attribute that to James Gunn, because again, so you go to Guardians 3, right, and that big hallway fight, I don't think that hallway fight is amazingly well shot. Like, sure, the choreography is fine, but again, James Gunn loved pulling out his wide-angle lens and shoots the whole thing in a wide-angle lens, and I'm like, why are we doing that? It doesn't look good. Like, wide-angle lenses to me are reserved for like weird looking shots, or to create like a weird uneasy feeling in the audience. Like, Peter Jackson uses wide angle shots or wide angle lenses amazingly in Lord of the Rings. Like, the dolly zooms in Lord of the Rings, love it, love it, love it. And that is kind of like my philosophy as a filmmaker, is like, if you want to make the scene feel weird and uneasy, wide angle lenses. But for some odd reason, like, James Gunn just thinks like they're cool to shoot normal scenes, and it's like, no, visually, it's pretty ugly. You're just a bunch of Snyder Bros, dude. Who's a Snyder Bro? Why do you think Superman is a serious guy? What kind of... Again, I'm not a Snyder Bro. I do like Snyder's stuff, and I think visually he gets Superman to a point, minus the, like, lack of blues and stuff. The lack of bright blues. There are moments in Batman vs Superman that I'm like, well, too far, way too far. Like, Snyder loves like the god angle of Superman, but it doesn't entirely match like who Superman is as a character. Because the thing with Superman in those films is that they underwrite him a lot. Like, he doesn't talk enough. He doesn't go and do things that Superman would do. And even when he does like the Senate hearing, he shows up there ready to explain his case, which is actually a thing from the comics. Like, Superman shows up to like the UN or something, and he shows up and is just like, listen, I may not, you know, come from Earth and stuff, but I like grew up in America, but also too, I don't represent just America, I represent the world. It's in like an action comic or something, but like, he does like basically just go, I'm a hero for the entire world, I don't just represent America. And it seemed like in Batman versus Superman, he was going to do that. He was going to explain his case. But then Lex Luthor, like, blows up the Senate and stuff. Like, that movie purposefully does things to make Superman... Like, it feeds into Lex's overall plot. It's meant to make Superman look bad because that is Lex Luthor's, like, plot in that film. But at the same time, too, it's, like, it's a bit messy, especially when Superman gets, like, super depressed. And he's just like, no one stays good in this world. And it's, like... It's a bit too far, but at the same time too, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, I do think some of the ideas are interesting, and obviously by the time we get to the Snyder Cut Superman, although he doesn't say a single word to the entire like Justice League team minus Batman, like, it was cool seeing him back, and I would have liked to have seen what Snyder would have done with Superman and done his like whole arc, because obviously we know the outline for his Justice League trilogy, and it would have been interesting, but at the same time too, when we thought we were getting Henry Cavill back and we were getting a Man of Steel 2, I thought, okay, cool, we're gonna get bright, optimistic, bubbly Superman again, and then reboot, and it's like, cool, okay. I did want to see Henry Cavill play big, bubbly, optimistic Superman though. What else are we saying in the comics? Why do I think Superman is a serious guy? I'm not saying that Superman is a super serious guy. I'm saying that James Gunn is making him goofy, like, ridiculously goofy, and I don't like that. Like, Superman, again, is the guy that will crack a joke. He's a dad in, like, the Rebirth comics and stuff. I remember that issue where, like, he's at the fair with, like, his sons, and, like, they're going up the thing, and he's all just like, up, up, and away, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not saying Superman needs to be super grim, super stoic. I'm not saying that. Like, Superman, like, the bit in the trailer where it's like, hey, buddy, eyes up here. I like that. I think that's good. I think that's a good like portrayal of Superman from David Cornsweet there. But there are just moments in this trailer where I'm like, why is he pretending to be like Star-Lord? Why is he like, oh, I'm doing really important stuff? And like, why is he being this like ultra soft boy around Lois where he's just like, yeah, sure, come on, interview me, yeah. Have you read the first Action comic? Go and read that, and you know who Superman actually is. Yeah, like again, Superman is the guy that represents truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, the American way, whatever. But like at the same time too, like watch the Fleischer cartoons. He's more powerful than a locomotive, faster than a speeding bullet. Like Superman is meant to be like serious. Like he's not a goofy guy. Sad TJ Reaper, just because you haven't liked or what's been promoted so far doesn't mean you're a sniper and everything. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a thing called nuance, which is like I'm still anticipating this film. I'm a Superman fan. I want to see what this film is like. Whether it comes out and I like it or not, that's a different story. But like, again, too, I had a comment that was just like criticize on like one of my Superman videos, and I was like, you should critique the things you see. You can't just be mindlessly enslaved to corporations and like accept everything they churn out, because that's not what good art is. Like art, you have to see, you have to judge, you have to evaluate, and at the same time too, it's like you can't improve without criticism. Anchith, which bit for like the Sam Raimi shot? Was it like the ending shot with like the really like distorted wide angle lens? Pull No Punches Productions, please stop complaining before the movie comes out. See it first, then make an assessment. Zack Snyder is a horrible Superman director who can write his own stuff. James Gunn is the best choice. Okay, so I think we're allowed to judge trailers before they come out, because movie studios have gone, okay, we approve of this piece of marketing. We're going to put it out and we're going to see how audiences react, but also too, we're going to market and sell our movie. I'm allowed to have an opinion on someone giving me a piece of marketing, telling me to go watch their movie. I'm allowed to have an opinion. Like, again, too, have I said that this movie sucks? I've not said that. I've said from what they've marketed to us, there are certain things that I don't like, and there are certain things that I do like. And I've said too in the past, James Gunn is a solid director. I don't entirely know what the story for this movie is, but I expect by the end of the day, I think it will at least be a solid story. Whether or not I like the film visually, that's a different story. Ridiculously goofy, he cracked one joke out of all the marketing we've seen. No, but that's not what I'm trying to say though. I'm not saying like jokes make David Cornsweet a weak Superman. Again, too, I think David Cornsweet will do a good job. I just think that the way Gunn might have characterized this version of Superman is not akin to what I believe Superman to be. And the thing is, too, is that Superman, if you've seen the 90th anniversary, which Pull No Punches has mentioned, he's a serious guy, but he's also, like, cracking jokes. But they're not, like, goofy jokes. They're not jokes that feel out of character for Superman, because Superman, he's a kind guy, he's a nice guy, he's a humble guy, and he will, like, point out and say light-hearted things. But he wouldn't say them in the way David Cornsweet has been directed to say. Like, oh, I'm just doing important stuff. Like, that's not what Superman would do. Like, Superman would just be a bit more tougher, a bit more of a man. Superman isn't meant to be, like, a toxically masculine marrying thing. I'm not expecting, you know, Superman to be like Andrew Tate. That's not what I'm saying Superman needs to be. I'm just saying that Superman just needs to show, like, this version of Superman just needs to be less goofy, a bit less of a gooster, and just be a bit more of, like, the ideal of Superman. James Gunn did confirm this is his third year. Yeah, but he's also, like, a 30-year-old man. There's a difference between if this was, like, Superman from Smallville, where he starts off that show as, like, a teenager, like, compared to now. Like, he's a man in his 30s. Like, I know men in their 30s, like, they can be silly, they can be whatever, but, like, there's something about the way this Superman is just, you know, he's just being a big goofy gooster. Just, I don't know. I just, so far, I don't love what we've seen of this Superman portrayal. If you watch the 19 animated show, you understand Superman. If you just watched Justice League Unlimited and All Star, you wouldn't realize there's where things taken from. But again, though, there's like so many different interpretations of Superman. Like, I like the first two Christopher Reeve films, and Superman can be a bit, campy, a bit, a bit of a cheesy guy. He says things that are like very like 1970s era appropriate, like "Oh, Jane, Willie, Lois." I don't mind that. I like that version of Superman. Um, I just don't think he needs to be cracking jokes like he's Spider-Man or most of the Avengers in the MCU, because I've said this a lot, or at least outside of YouTube. I don't know if I've said this a ton on YouTube, but like with the MCU and stuff, they basically gave most of the MCU characters Spider-Man's personality. Like, you watch Age of Ultron, they're all quipping because Joss Whedon was like, I'm gonna write them all like they're Spider-Man. But you read the comics and stuff, they don't quip as much because they're not Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the quipster. He's the one that like has been reserved for quipping. I'd say Superman is far more serious from what we've seen than Goofy. I don't know, one joke automatically makes his entire character some kind of joke or something, each their own, I guess. I'm beyond used to Clark being a cornball. That's the thing, Kaiji Cinema. I'm not against Superman being goofy. Again, like I said, Christopher Reeve's Superman is a bit corny, is a bit goofy. He goes around and he plays like the Boy Scout hero. There's just something that Gunn has done to where he's just made Superman a bit too corny, that just feels a bit... No, I wouldn't even say corny, just too goofy. Like, he's like super aloof and like, oh, jeez. Like, that's not Superman to me. Superman, but this isn't a season. Superman Clark having a big personality is something I prefer over a very cold and stoic approach. I do hear where you're coming from, especially in BVS. That's something that I'm not a big fan of, because like Snyder really plays up the god angle of Superman in BVS, and like there are moments like in his depression arc where he just says these lines where I'm like, Superman like wouldn't say that, or like that's so bleak that Superman would say that. I don't know. I'm kind of... What is, like, the Superman I'm, like, looking for? Like, yeah, 90s animated Superman, Justice League Superman, to where, like, you know that clip where he's fighting Darkseid or something, and he's like, do you know how easy it would be for me to, like, break all these buildings down? It would be like crushing a piece of paper or something. That whole scene. I like DC animated universe Superman. That's kind of the Superman that I'm after. And I don't think Gunn has written that entirely. He might have done. Maybe he'll grow into be that character. Remember too, this is the first film in a cinematic universe that Gunn is like planning out. But I don't know. I don't know. There are things in this trailer that I like. There are things in this trailer specifically, that I don't like. But again too, there's nuance to all this. Just because there are things in this that I don't like doesn't mean I've written the film off completely and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this. This sucks. I haven't seen the film. Like, yes, right now I'm talking about the marketing of the film, and I'm like, what is the story? I actually don't know what this film's story is about. But again too, when the film comes out, I'm not gonna be thinking about the marketing. This is something that like... Sorry. I've been talking for almost an hour now. But this is something I found that like a lot of comic book fans do, which is like, they'll anticipate a movie, they'll like talk about the trailers and the marketing, and they'll like hold on to the idea of the marketing. Like the Amazing Spider-Man 2, love or hate that movie, everyone goes on about the marketing for that film. They like won't let it go. They'll be like, oh, they showed the last shot of the film in the trailer and blah blah. But that doesn't matter though. Like, there are so many people that probably have turned on The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that just don't remember the trailers, and they just watch it, and they go, yeah, I enjoyed that. I mean, then again, too, I'm an Amazing Spider-Man, like, defender. I think Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, and I love those movies. I know they've got problems, I know they do, but again, too, there's a thing called nuance, in the sense of, like, you can like something whilst acknowledging its faults. And that's kind of like a philosophy I like to preach in my reviews and stuff, which is like, again, I love The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Do I think it's the best Spider-Man film? To me, I love it, and it's a comfort movie. But like, objectively, I would say that like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man film, but Homecoming's also really good. Okay, again, too, pull no punches. What? Andrew over Toby? Okay. This is where I talk about the subtlety and nuances, right? I like all the live-action Spider-Man, right? I think they're all great. I just think Andrew Garfield looks more like the comic book character, behaves a bit more like the comic book character, and there's a thing with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that, like, I do really like, right? I do really like Tobey Spider-Man, but there's something in that Raimi trilogy to where he feels a bit like a victim, and the way they shoot him in certain times, and I feel like I'll do like a movie commentary series on the Raimi trilogy, but like they do this thing with Toby to where like he carries himself like a victim, which isn't what Peter Parker is. Like, to take for example in Spider-Man 2 when J. Jonah Jameson underpays him. Comic book Spider-Man, as he leaves the room, would say something snide and quippy and basically like called J. Jonah Jameson a cheapskate. Like Toby's Peter would just be like, yeah, okay, thanks, Mr. Jameson, and then like walk away. But as he walks away, he'll have this look on his face of just like, oh, I'm such a poor victim. To where like Peter Parker in the comics, he would have that like thought process in the back of his head, but he wouldn't be like, oh, I'm such a victim. He'd be like, oh, for God's sake, the whole world is against me, and this J. Jonah Jameson guy, he's irritating. Thousand One is greater than the Home trilogy. Yes, even though we're home, the movie falls apart as soon as you use a brain. That's kind of hard to say because I love The Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I do really like Homecoming, and I actually think Vulture might be one of the best villains in the MCU. I think he's like in the top 2. I think the way they wrote Vulture and Michael Keaton plays him is amazing. Far From Home I hate. I think Spider-Man Far From Home is the worst Spider-Man film. That's a story for another time. But I do genuinely think Far From Home sucks. And No Way Home is really enjoyable. If you think about it, it falls apart. But at the same time, too, it's kind of special. Pull No Punches Productions. I'm a 37 Real Toby fan and saw the first Spider-Man as a teen in 2002. Coming to comic books before that. Right. Yeah, no, it's called the Euro Comics, though. Yeah, again, I love all the Spider-Men. Toby holds a special place in my heart. There's a lot of great, and I would even say that he objectively has the best written films out of the trilogy. Probably even the best directed films of the 3 Spider-Men. I just prefer Andrew. I just think Andrew Garfield is an amazing actor. I think he might even be my favorite actor. He's so great. I really like his Spider-Man. Especially, everyone loved him in No Way Home, and I was just like, where were you guys? Where were you guys back in 2012 and 2014, where I was defending him like there was no tomorrow, and everyone was just like, you're crazy for thinking he's great. And No Way Home comes out and everyone loves him. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up right now. We're approaching an hour. I've spent an hour talking about Superman, about that kind of stuff. But this was fun, guys. First proper live stream. I'll be back. We'll do another one soon. I'll probably do either like a live Q&A and stuff. I'll try and keep these a bit more regular because like there are certain things that I do see and I'm like, oh, I should make a video on that, but I just haven't had the time to like sit down and like do the full like editing and color grading, all that kind of stuff. In terms of stuff you can expect on the channel, my Dark Knight Rises commentary is coming. I filmed it. I hope to get that out next weekend, and hopefully Warner Brothers does not copyright flag it. I've got to do some editing tricks and all that kind of shenanigans. And then, yeah, in terms of future content, obviously when Superman comes out, I'll do a full review. In terms of movie commentaries, we're wrapping up Dark Knight, the Dark Knight trilogy. And then I think because obviously summer's approaching, I'm like in need of a summer film, and F1's coming out, and it's from the same director as Top Gun Maverick. So I think after Rises, we'll do Top Gun Maverick, and then we'll probably do something like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, maybe even the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man stuff, maybe all the Spider-Man films. We'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me for this live stream, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good night.